Hey guys, I hope you're well. My name is Thomas Batemore. I teach, travel and sometimes triumph. This is going to be another Teach video. In my last video, I spoke to you all about my recent school closure and how I'm going to be switching to an online distance learning platform. Now, after that video, I received a range of different questions asking how all of that different process is going to work. What I hope to do in this video is ask a range of different questions. Every school around the world is different. So it only makes sense for me to ask you guys a range of questions so that you can set up an online distance learning platform that suits your school. Inside this yellow notebook, there are a range of different questions that I have written down so that I can ask those to you guys and come up with a range of different tips to help you create that online learning platform and give you a range of things that you might need to think about. So let's get into the video. If you are interested in my action plan and things that I am actually going to be doing in my school, those are going to be part of another video. So feel free to subscribe down in the corner. If you click the notification bell, you'll be alerted when I post those videos and you'll also be able to see more of my videos too. So let's get straight into the questions. The first question that I need to ask you guys is, how are you going to notify your school and your parents at your school that school is closed? Now, there's a range of different things you need to think about here. Now, personally, I would advise the same sort of procedure that you would do if it would be something like a rain day or a snow day. If your school is closed there, then you might post something to your school website. However, lots of different boroughs have a radio announcement and different things like that. It is important for parents to know that the school is closed so they don't turn up on the day not really sure of what is happening. What sort of provision do the children in your school have? Are you working in an area that is full of vulnerable children who don't often have adult support at home? If you do, then you might need to tailor your online distance learning approach slightly different to those who have parents readily available to support them with all of the different online work that they are going to be set. Access. Do the children have access to resources? Do the children have access to things like notebooks, whether it's iPads, to actually access that online distance learning? In my school, children have Chromebooks, so I know that all of the work that is set can be accessed through that Chromebook. However, you need to think about your school and whether or not the children have access to digital media. If the children only have access to something like a laptop, are they able to get on applications such as Seesaw and things like that? So that is something you need to think about. Number two, within that question, you need to also think about the children's knowledge. Are they able to use the platforms that you are asking them to do work on? Things like Google Classroom and Seesaw are fantastic. However, if the children aren't aware how to use them, then you're going to need to do little baby steps before you actually set any work to help them understand how to use that resource. Make sure that the children have logins. Now that sounds pretty obvious, but it's going to be another little barrier that's going to stop the children from learning if they don't have them, especially if you've recently had new children in, you're going to need to think about those children too. The next question is really quite key for teachers. It's essentially, how are you going to teach and support the children? Now there's two different methods to suit different schools. Live would be really good if you know that all of the children are going to be available to look at that recording at the same time. For example, if you're in one of those schools that are vulnerable, where children aren't going to be traveling to different places necessarily, you know that everyone is more likely to be able to get onto that system at the same time, hopefully. I know at my school that live system isn't going to be something that works very well, because if I start to talk about something live, there's a chance that some child might be somewhere else in the world and miss that live feedback. Therefore, having something like a screencast is fantastic because the children can access that at any time. The next question is also quite important and is going to save you quite a lot of time. What online learning platforms and resources do the children already know how to use? If you look at something that is brand new, it might be fantastic, but there are always alternatives that the children might already know how to use. It's going to save you time. You also need to be able to think about, if you set something new, what are you going to do to support not only the children being able to understand the content, but also learning how to understand that new platform. So there's two different methods for teaching that you're going to need to think about when you start that distance learning platform. Timetables. Something really important to think about is timetables. What do they look like? Are the timetables going to be reduced? Are the timetables going to be unified so that all the children within your year group are doing the same thing at the same time, therefore making it easier for teachers to share things at the same time? Are you going to be doing things differently in any way? And how are you going to share that with parents and children? Because that's something that you're going to need to think about. For example, if you close straight away without any warning, you need to think about introducing that timetable pretty efficiently and then having things for the children to do. Break times, you really do need to think about break times within your timetable too. Children are going to be looking at a screen for a long amount of time, so it's important for the children to get a break. You might even want to be really good and think about things that the children could do in that break. I would personally advise that the children during that break time get active, doing a range of different things, getting outside, away from the screen. Registers are also an important thing to think about within the timetable. How do they work for your school? Is it going to be a case of a video that the children like? Is it going to be a piece of work that the children automatically sign in, for example on Google Classroom? Or is it going to be a case of children have to send a video in and you're going to be really strict? Just make sure you think about the register and making sure that the children are available to complete the work that you are setting. Communication. Communication is something that is quite key. How are the children going to be able to communicate with you? Is it going to be through a Google platform, such as just Gmail, or is it going to be a Google Hangouts? Are the children going to be able to Skype you? And you need to think about safeguarding risks there too. When are the children and parents going to be able to communicate with you too? Are you available throughout the school day, or are there certain times, for example, when you have your PPA, that you are not available, so that you can actually set and complete and think about the resources that you're going to have for your children too? This next question is specifically for leaders, and is how are your teachers and staff going to be supported with that transition to an online distance learning platform? There's so many different steps and questions that I have put in within this video, and it's important as a leader and in fact as a teacher to think about those different questions for your school. I could give lots of different advice, but at the end of the day, every single school is different, and it's important to think about those individual steps. Hopefully you find something within this video useful. If you have, feel free to like it. I always really appreciate that. I'm going to be creating more videos around the topic of online distance learning. So if you feel like you want to watch more of those videos, as said at the start of the video, subscribe down in the corner and click the notification bell to be alerted when those get uploaded. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one, but for now, I really appreciate your time and I'm out.